All right, I think we got it. Hey everybody, 2nd of May, 2024. This is Gimbalabs Open Spaces. We get together on Wednesdays and Thursdays to decide what to do and then get to doing it. So like usual, I'll just set the timer for 2 minutes. If you need a link to the Miro board, it's in the chat. And if you're not on Miro for any reason, just drop what you want to work on today into the chat. We'll do a quick round here and then break out into all the stuff we got going on. Any questions? Here we go.
Is that Newman walking and making noise? Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Alex, can you hear me? I'm not on the mirror board, but let's see.
You
Yeah,
are
just
walking.
working.
You are walking, and the wind from your headphones.
Walking, yeah, doing good. Whenever I think of one every time,
Nice.
every 25 minutes. I'm like, oh, let's get some movement going.
Yeah. All right. So what we've got on the agenda, what is Pragma? Anybody want to talk about this one for a sec?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone knows and anyone has an opinion on that, I'd like to hear.
Yeah. And my priority is to work on PPBL. Launch day is today. We might not get there, but I want to really dig into some of the tasks I've got. I'm happy to collaborate on that. And then polishing off Ken's proposal, we could do that in a breakout room. Does that sound okay to everybody? For this one, I don't know how long we can spend on this because there is really urgent work to do, but Pragma is a new MBO it's a collaborative one between Blink Labs, TX Pipe, Sunday Swap, the Aiken team, and CF. I think that's
Oh,
every.
so they're having their own intersect, right?
Uh, it's another so the what the two things have in common is that they are both MBOs, but the similarities I do think stop there. And I think it's best to leave it to those two groups to really express what they're doing. There is a lot more to say there. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go too far into that today just because of the urgent work that's on the agenda.
Fair enough. I'd like to discuss this at some later date because you were at the Builder Fest and you know you talked to these people personally. And I'm curious about, like, should we expect a hard fork with this, because in Intersect people are pretty concerned about why the hell is this going on and what is the purpose, and that's I'm curious as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it some
Yeah,
later.
we'll see. At a high level, keep in mind that we signed up for decentralized and distributed ecosystems. A health metric of such systems is whether a plurality of options exists, right?
Right.
And it's very exciting to know that people are looking at known problems in different ways. That ought to be, I believe, what we want. So
Yeah,
yeah,
let's hope so.
we'll get into the details.
All right.
So I opened up 3 breakout rooms here that we can use in any way. I'm happy to jump over to one of them to do the just PBL work stuff for anybody who wants to. And should we keep the proposal in the main room so people can finish that off and maybe even achieve consent? Would there be any objections to that approach?
Hey, I didn't get a chance to look over the finished proposal. I don't know, just a sort of everyone else in the room, did anybody else get a chance to read it over in its, its current state? I'd be happy to hang out in the main room. And then for you, James, are you gonna sort of silently work on the PPBL, or are you going to narrate as you go, or how would that be in the breakout?
Oh, great question. Yeah, definitely narrative, and we'll be asking for help. But it'll be good to just align where we're at and what still needs to happen.
Ken, how do you feel about your proposal? Do you want, or is it sort of finished and ready for us just to review, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's good as far as I can see. I just shared the link in the chat. I don't know if that's helpful for you calling in like you are, but
Yeah. I'll be back in a bit. I'm just going around the block. Yep.
So yeah, you guys can keep refining that. Ken, remember what we talked about yesterday is giving people some lead time before the meeting, right? So now that you've shared it, please do so in Discord as well. And then we can
where in the Discord, should I share it?
What is the best
specific
channel?
place?
Yeah. We might need a proposals channel. That might be something good to talk about too.
Because I opened up Discord earlier and thought about sharing it, but then I was confused about where to put it.
Cool. Yeah, we did a Discord redesign together earlier this year, and we assumed that there would be further refinements. So that might be something to look at together.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, we should have a channel for music and things like that. Liberal arts.
All right. Cool. Hey, I'm gonna jump over to room 1 because there is urgent work to do for PPBL, and I want to get into that. So anybody who wants to do that, I'll be in room 1, and we got systems going on here in the live broadcast.
Nice.
Check you soon, everybody.
Thanks, James. Thanks, James. Yeah, I'm looking at one, like a proposal channel. I mean, my concern is that, we kind of start the ball rolling to just like a bunch of different channels. However, I think that would be, and it might be a cool, like, governance, a governance channel or a governance thread in one of the other channels, such that we can keep track, like James was talking about yesterday, like keep track of our governance decisions and governance actions. And I think it's important to keep all that in a spot so that we can have a good backlog of things that, that did the governance process. Yeah, that would be cool. How do folks feel about that?
I think it might be good to have a specific place for all the proposals. Yeah, so that you can sort of see the flow of what's happening, like regardless of what category it falls under.
Yeah, yeah. I seem to think that would be a good way to sort of keep, allow the culture of it, so you get a sense of what the proposals look like and what what people, and then you can comment there, etc. Yeah, I think that kind of fits the S3 principle or pattern of visualized work. It would be cool, and I guess it could be a Notion. Hey, Ken, did you put yours in the Gimbalabs Notion, or did you just put it on your own Notion?
It's just on my own. I don't have access to the Gimbalabs one.
Yeah, so this might be one of those things where it kind of gets elevated to the Gimbalabs Notion. So then there's just a folder in that Notion that says, here are proposals in some state of the workflow, of the governance workflow. And I think the way that's supposed to work is like you would find someone with the Gimbalabs account that would post it for you, and or like make a proposal to get a Gimbalabs account to do it. But that seems silly just to do one proposal. But yeah, I feel like it's, with this idea of like how to manage the proposals. But that could go on the backlog, you know what I mean? Like in the meantime, let's just post it. Even if you post it, you can post it in the community, because in the community channel, and then maybe tag it with proposal or governance, or just so that we can search and then find it. Because just to expedite the process. I'm at the top of my loop, and I'll be back behind the computer in 10 minutes. And it would be cool to read it through, and then try to get it in front of more people, and maybe get some people to comment. But that being said, a lot of people were happy with the proposal as it was written and presented yesterday. Is anybody on the call that sort of was there yesterday and wants to say more? Yeah. I think. Yeah, I just think. Yeah.
I know,
ahead,
but yeah, I was thinking here that that is it's a great work as it is right now, and we'll be reviewing the proposal with just to give feedback to Ken, as he actually asked us to do. Yeah, so just not to. I will be okay by passing that. My vote is yes. The proposal, the way it is written.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, we haven't started voting, but that's just giving my opinion.
I'm thinking of I'm looking at the contribution circles in the Discord and finding where this fits, but I think multiple channels are stakeholders in this proposal, like changing website reflects outreach advocacy. I think it actually touches all of it. Builders, because we're building a site. so I don't know where this fits right now. So for that reason, should we put this by tagging, everyone, and then dropping it in the other topic channel until we find a good place, so that people have that time ahead to look into the proposal. The other topics, should that be fine, or because yeah, we don't have the access to Notion at the moment. Contribution circles, one doesn't fit right. Looking at, I was hoping I could see a general channel or something like that, but there's not. So there's
Are you talking? Okay.
Yeah.
So you weren't able to see the Notion, the link I posted in the chat, or I don't know.
No, I mean for the whole for the whole community to keep track of the proposal.
Yeah.
And review
Like
the proposal, and yeah, get a consensus on it.
So what? Yeah, I don't.
All right, I'm rolling back into the house. I'll be able to take a look through it. Ken, yeah, it may be that it's just that it's time just to sort of look around and then put. I don't know when we want to do the like consent and approval, and then I guess we trigger. Are there any blockers? Like, what do you need in order to like get the proposal going?
Well, I need to pay my bills soon, so I don't know.
So there's the money, but is there anything other than that? Because I remember that a big point that James mentioned in the proposal was that you really didn't need anything. There was no requirement of others, like no time requirement. But do you need like? I would imagine you need like.
Other than people being open for other people to share their suggestions and stuff, that's the only thing. Like, there's no other requirements other than the compensation for the time I'm putting into it.
Yeah, and
that's the only thing.
I imagine you're going to need like account access, or I guess you could put it up in one GitLab account and then ask James to pull it and
currently it's just on my GitHub. It's currently just on my GitHub, yeah. So like we can fork it to wherever, put whatever after when it's time to replace the current site. So like you can serve it directly from GitHub. I'm not sure about GitLab, but I imagine there's a similar thing you can do there too.
Right. I mean, that's kind of some of my questions. Is just those detail, somewhat technical details of the hosting, and I'm also really curious about like who pays that hosting and domain, like those registrations. In my ideal community, like we would see those transactions occur.
As far as the hosting, if it's an open source project, then you can just host it as a GitHub page, and there's no cost. There's no cost for hosting. You just, if you have the you can just point your domain names to the GitHub page if you want to do it that way. That's the way I
nice.
prefer to do it.
Does it require any kind of like validation that it's an open source thing? And
no,
I mean, I guess
like the source code is like, well, the page is there. Like, I don't know, like they probably there wouldn't be any problem with it unless you're building like a e-commerce site or something on like that.
Right.
Their terms of service, but other than that, Juan, did you have something to say?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for, right, I think I have a question related to, clarifying question related to after the work is done, the maintenance of the site, what will imply to be done? Because I know Elm is a functional program, but do we have the capability to continue with that? Are you going to continue doing it? What happened after?
Well, ultimately, the work that I'm doing on the site is directly related to the knowledge management stuff I want to do in the future. So I'll be happy to continue working on it, like as long as I have my financial situation in place. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to always come from Gimbalabs. I'm going to be submitting proposals and stuff for Catalyst, and I have some ideas for how to do monetization and connect things with Cardano later on, like through the knowledge management
Got it.
stuff. So
Yeah, Ken, do you have a ballpark of what would take maintain after that, after the building?
sorry, could you repeat that?
Do you have like a ballpark of how much would it cost to maintain the site after the finish the intent of the proposal?
I think it should be easy to maintain. Like, I'm going to put together a bunch of documentation about how everything works, and maybe stuff about learning Elm too. Like, I've got some people I teach programming stuff to here in Malawi, and Elm is one of the languages that I'm teaching people. So I'm thinking about putting together documentation for helping people learn online anyway. So that can be part of this project too.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Super. Yeah, no more questions from my side. Anybody else have any questions?
Nelson?
Yeah. First thing is if everybody here is all right with making the consent process today, I'm fine with that. But everyone has to probably say yes to that. But in order to do that, at least I want the proposal to be somewhere that the whole community can see, so that's Discord. So I propose that you put a message in the Discord, and for now other topics
So
at the moment.
would that be a link to the Notion?
Tech
So
everyone like has you know
I don't know. I don't use Discord, so I have Discord.
you
But
do
I'm
at the
on
rate.
Discord, but I don't know how to do stuff on it because I don't use it very often.
So
What
let me
what
share my screen. Let me share my screen.
what what
Can you see my screen?
yeah.
Yep, I got it there.
So go for now, as there doesn't feel like a proper place for at the moment, but at least the proposal should be here. So
Other topics.
Yeah, just go to other topics and write at the rate and everyone.
Okay.
Everyone. So
And then
that
just
takes
the link.
everyone, and you write that here is my proposal
Okay.
for the Gimbalabs website, and yeah, post
Okay.
the link there.
And you know, now if sorry to interrupt, but you know, Nelson, if you've got he's down there. Okay, good enough. Yeah, this is a good spot to put it. Other topics is good. And then if yeah.
And then my second ask is that in the evaluation criteria, you put that you will be at least showcasing the progress every week in the live coding open spaces time in the evaluation criteria every week for the whole first month.
But it doesn't say every week. It's just evaluating it at the end of the month. Yeah, on the month.
But I think it's important that everyone sees the progress of the work, and you said it.
Yeah, the site's going to be online. The code's going to be online for people to see. So like we can. I'm happy to talk about it every week.
Yeah, exactly. So verbally talk about the progress you made in the open spaces. I don't know, for the 5 minutes or something in the main room in the beginning, that might be fine.
Okay.
I'm thinking that might be a good idea. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion. Everybody has to think.
Yeah.
And if that's good enough, then for me personally, I'm ready to do the consent process today. And if we have a consensus, then we write in the Discord, probably Newman or someone, that okay, this proposal that Ken has posted is has reached consensus with these people in the room, something like that, just to keep in track who was there making the consent and all of those, like, keeping track of the proposal basically. So that's my idea for now.
I just posted the link in on the Discord. So
I would love to. Yeah, let's do the consent. My idea is to do the decision is do the consent process now or do it later. I kind of feel like it needs to be up on the Discord. I think it's still a little too early to do it. And there's some questions that I have about getting the funds and to Ken, but I think we could do it. I think we could do it next Wednesday.
Is that so? Okay, you mean the consent or getting the funds?
Well, hopefully consent and getting the funds, meaning that hopefully the funds are easy enough to just say, okay, here's your address, and then you're off to the races. Because I definitely don't want to wait, and I'm okay with doing it now, but I feel like the proposal needs to be posted publicly for everybody, and then we say, hey, we're going to do a consent process on Wednesday and decide on Wednesday. I would feel a little bit better, but I also know that you know time is of the essence, and that maybe we want to just do it now. But I feel like it would be a little rushed.
Yes. Right, Newman. I think because of time is of the essence. That's why we have to not to rush and make decisions on this. This is a go. I think it's a very, very good proposal, but it's better to follow the processes and have it exposed to the community in the right
So
channel.
how many people interact with the Discord that don't actually join the meetings?
Yeah,
Right.
I think a lot of folks are on the Discord. I think that there are a lot of lurkers there, and it kind of sets I think what Juan is speaking to is it sort of sets the precedent that, that these two places are connected, and that there's some people, and a lot of folks in the different time zone, because I know that there's, Henson and the whole the Hong Kong crew, like they're asleep, that's late night for them. And I think that would be good. And then we can kind of, there will be a discussion, or there could be a discussion that happens there. So like questions, concerns, and things could happen there. Yeah.
Now, the other thing is that we set a precedence of following a pattern, following a procedural proper way to do things, and even even if people doesn't read what you have on the proposal and all that, it is already there. So
yeah,
whoever wants to participate on the decision making or make questions, they'll do it. And then that's my take on that.
Cool.
Like I'm wondering about I talked a little bit about this when I did my playground presentation, like what's the distinction between consensus and consent?
Yeah.
So like we're not trying to do consensus.
No.
Consent is something different, and I'm wondering how that relates to what we're talking about now. Also, I have presented the stuff about the site 2 or 3 different times, and I'm just trying to work on how to do it in a way where it fits the structure of the process. And so it's already been, there's blockade after blockade. That's what it seems like. But
well, hopefully that doesn't get in, just I think
I'm a little concerned about how soon I can pay my bills, but that's anyway.
Well, what we could do is I hear that concern, and I'm sorry to hear that it feels like a blocker, but I hope you understand that this is a brand new kind of thing. It's really only the second proposal, and I don't know if you remember that first proposal we worked on for 4 weeks of this type of thing, and so I'm thinking that if we do it next week, it'll be an improvement.
How many weeks ago did I did have the proposal on Notion before, like in a previous iteration several weeks ago. So
right.
I've been doing this for 3 or 4 weeks already. So like I don't.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a reset every time we discuss it or something. So
sure.
I'm not trying to be
no.
Yeah.
But it's your tension, and this is tension in the S3 sense, is just your experience of stuff that's going on. So I don't, and that's one of the things about this governance work, is that you should feel comfortable, and I hope that you do, in sort of expressing these sort of tensions or like experiences that you have. You're not being a dick or mean spirited, and et cetera, et cetera. And basically what I would like to do is that we've tentatively, because because I know if we run through the consent process, and basically that just means a couple of rounds of, are you concerned or do you have objections? That we would agree, we would agree to do this. So what we could do is just say, hey, we've tentatively agreed, but I feel strongly that it needs to go onto the Discord as a finalized proposal. I know that we've talked about it, but I because of my sort of structural nature, like I want to see it, in a, here it is proposed, this is its final form, it's ready for the consent process. I don't know, it's one of those things where, even though we did talk about it, and we did post it, I just feel like it needs to be posted for longer. It's one of those things.
Newman, I'm curious,
Yeah.
one small question. So why is the consent process? I mean, maybe I missed a couple of things because I was in the other room for a little bit, but why did we decide the consent process shouldn't happen right now and should wait for another week? I'm just curious. Is it because of the number of people? Like how much consent is consent? Does everyone has to consent?
Right.
Or other people doing other work, like whoever is available right now consent? Like what in your opinion do you think is the right amount of people to consent?
That's a great,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, that's a great, there's the number of folks, and that's called a quorum in the old sort of governance. It's like, okay, how many people need to be in the room to make to approve a proposal? And that's, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. But the reason why we wanted to wait is because it wasn't posted in the Discord for people to read the actual final proposal, and we talked about that. There's a large group of Gimbalabs that don't come to these meetings, but are in the Discord. Does that feel right? I see Juan's got his hand up.
Are you okay with that response?
Are you talking to me, Juan?
No, I was asking you if it was okay with the woman's response to that to your question.
I'm still like, I have questions, but like it'll work for now. But also I'm concerned about Ken's like time limitations because he is tight on time. So yeah, I don't know the answer, but like something has to balance both of these things out. Yeah.
Make a lot of sense what you're saying. Yeah. Ken, look at the chat I think I think it's important for us to not to rush on things, and especially because this is the first time we do this. So I think it's about just taking the time and do it right. And I know Ken is always available to answer questions and to respond to anything that people will ask. So and bet on the project, whatever additions the community have for this. So I don't think it's something that we need to rush to make a decision on that. And what do you think, Ken? Can you wait a little bit? I mean, that's the other thing, that we have to be very clear on the fact that I know your situation, but the proposal cannot take into account that for the vote. This is the quality of the, I mean, it's the work that you are doing, that you are offering to the community and through the project, in exchange to some incentive. In this case, you say that, but in reality, that's the important part. Other than that, it cannot be taken into account for the vote. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think I'll defer to what people decide, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And can we also maybe, I mean, I don't know if this makes sense or not, but can we have deadlines for consent, like one way or the other, whether we consent or not? we need to figure out by this time or whatever, just so I feel like anyone that's proposing is in a limbo for a long time, and it might drain their energy is what I'm thinking, and we'll lose a lot of energy towards projects in the process, which is what I'm worried about a little
I've
bit.
definitely put a lot of work into the proposal process that could have gone into actually working on the site. But
Right. And this is all around this idea that if the proposal process is too difficult or not clear and takes energy away, and then we won't get good people proposing. I mean, we'd rather have Ken or anybody making a proposal working on the actual project instead of doing all the governance. So a deadline on the proposal process, you know, for me, it's like, because Ken, the tension that I felt was that Ken says, hey, look, man, I've been working on this proposal for a long time, but in my mind, it wasn't, like, when did it exactly start? And it's here like the official, like when is the start date? When is the end date? Like, so that it's very clear, and that might work better. That might work good for the proposers and the community.
Just a note about the site itself, like some of the things that I shared, like having a way to embed like processes into the way that you manage knowledge. Like in my future vision, I guess, is that you could have on the site itself step-by-step processes for going through the formation and approval of proposals. So like my goal eventually is to, like, I don't know if it will be directly with the Gimbalabs site itself or with other work that I derive from what I'm doing here, but I want to replace the need for having Notion or having Discord for doing the governance process. That's my long-term goal for the knowledge management work that I want to do in the future.
Yeah.
And Nelson had something in the chat. Did you take a look at that, Newman?
Yeah, in today's open spaces, we agree we will conduct final consent process, the proposal upcoming Wednesday with a quorum of people who makes it to the space. So we're going to ask people to show up next Wednesday to talk and to run the consent process to vote for the proposal. And that would be nice. That would be nice. I think we can do that. And we can, maybe even, a small campaign where we post multiple times on the Discord to say this is coming up and this is our governance, and we might get some people in here that want to go through the process. I do think that one of the reason why I know Ken and why I'm so supportive of him is I know that he's thought deeply about community knowledge management and collaborative environments. And so getting him involved with Gimbalabs, I think, could be a good thing. Getting away from, kind of piecemeal information and getting a cohesive environment for this would be really good. And I think that the work that he's doing is not just important here in Gimbalabs, but for all communities. So this is great. This is great. I would love to see Ken be a big part of Gimbalabs' front-facing collaborative environments. That being said, does anyone else have? Because I think what we can do now is just post this in the Discord, and then we can we maybe switch over to that other breakout room, or we kind of table for now. I wouldn't mind catching up with Alex and talk about next week's playground. Juan, you got something?
Yes, yes, I do. I do want to have Ken take a look at the direct message that I sent to him. Please take a look at that and send me the information, and we go from there.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is something good actually to have the team that put together the new Discord to check and kind of oversee the creation of the new channel. But I think it's much better to have a specific channel for that. That is something that is going to be concurrent. It's going to continue every time instead of just putting in some from a space that nobody looks. I mean, nobody looks, but nobody looks for a proposal there. That's what I mean.
Right.
So I have a question because me and Hinson and Newman kind of worked on Discord. Do you think there
Exactly.
needs to be a separate channel just for proposals, or should the proposals go into the specific working group?
So yes, so that's a great question. So I feel like it could go into it could go anywhere, but then linked, could go in anything, but then linked from a circle or possibly an announcement. And then it could be that it needs to go, I'm thinking, and this goes to Ken's point about Discord and Notion, it really should go in a Notion for governance, because there is a like a proposal section of the Notion board, and there's like a Kanban, meaning that they go into like, here are proposal ideas, these are proposals in progress, like there's a Kanban board for them, and then these are approved proposals. And I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, having like a section of approved governance actions would be a benefit to the community, to that point of transparency and sort of openness. So we're figuring those things out.
One of the things that I don't like about Discord, maybe Notion is the same way, is that the file structure is a tree and not a semi-lattice.
Right. Yeah, that Merkle tree is kind of difficult because things can't be in two places at one time, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. You want to be able to put something in more than one place at the same time, because something might be applicable to more than one train of thought.
So I think we work with what we have at the moment and prioritize stuff. So it is essential to build up this on-ramps of where we put proposals, where we do things. It hasn't been built yet, and I think proposals like this coming up makes it a perfect conversation, and we should talk about it even so. But if there's no objection that building those on-ramps at the moment is a less priority than getting on this proposal first, and then maybe the next proposal can have a better place. We have already posted this in the other topics. Yeah. Is everyone all right if I post this message that I've written in chat on Discord right now?
I've already done it.
So cool.
I hope that's okay.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. Have you posted it?
Oh, you know what? It may be just. Oh, you know what? I'm drafting it now. Sorry. Yeah, but I can post it real quick. And then it says, please review the above proposal, make comments, concerns, objections here on Discord, and come to Wednesday's open space May 5th for final consent process. There you go. I posted it. And then there was one other things. Oh yeah, please settle clarifications and objections. Actually, you said it a lot better than me. Oh man. I'm going to post this in there too. or maybe you could post that, then I'll seem a little organic. Could you post that for me, Nelson? Your second, please settle clarifications and objections.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be awesome. And then I want to, because this is really generative, and thank you for being patient, Ken. I and everyone, as we sort of build the plane as we're flying it, which requires a balance. Like, we can't build everything; it can't be all perfect. But it is important to sort of notice the things that are missing. And like this Discord, like, where do governance actions go on Discord or in our knowledge, stream? I think that's an important backlog question. And I'll put that in our Miro board, which is sometimes looked at. And I think the answer to this, where do governance actions, where are governance actions documented? And I think that's going to be the Notion, Gimbalabs Notion. But then that's like, who posts it? That goes back to that question. But these are questions to figure out.
Yeah, like you don't necessarily see everything that's on the
Yes.
Gimbalabs Notion.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, that's the problem with those things. And wouldn't it be great if there was some, so like the things that we write here in Miro board, and I mean, I guess this is knowledge management or trying to get community awareness, discoverability, how to get a message to the whole community so that they can, or they have access, and that it's top of mind for them. One of the things that I've done in my community is I'll go and do a search for all the posts that happened in Discord in the last week. And so then I can just sort of scan, like, okay, who's posting and what is the, what's the scuttlebutt. The Cardano forums actually have a review. They have a weekly review email that you can get. Like, what is, how does a community keep itself informed? How does a community member keep itself informed? And that's a real question. Yeah. But I think that if we've made a post to everyone, so everyone at least has gotten an alert. Okay, hey, thanks, Nelson. So Nelson jumped over to the PBBL. Yeah. So basically, I guess what I feel like, we've done some good community heavy lifting here. Like, we put in effort and we've come up with some good questions. I feel confident that people will come to the open space to do the consent process. I think that in the meantime, we should ask, because James, for, like, can we expedite the payment so that Ken can, like, start work right away, so that if the consent is approved, if the proposal is approved, that he can get a payment right away. Seeing as how that he's spent months on this proposal, and we want to get that new website up in an expedited way, such that the new students coming for the PBBL would see it, and then get all the benefits. Basically, that inclusion of the primary driver makes a lot of sense for me.
And does Ken have to prepare anything for next week, or is Ken like done with like making changes to the proposal and all?
I think so.
I don't, unless there's any feedback here, like that we haven't really talked about feedback for the proposal itself that much. Other, yeah, like I've shared in different ways, like most of the general ideas for where my thought process is at. I don't know, like you can spend forever trying to codify everything into a specific format.
Yeah, I think that your Ken's responsibility now is to be there on Wednesday and to sort of answer questions that come up in the process, and be because that's what the process is really there for. So someone might ask about Elm again, and he answered that question before. Someone might ask about the some of the the other things, or things that we haven't addressed, but getting those once again sort of answered, and the community sort of understanding the proposal, and letting their concerns, objections, and clarifications be heard and addressed. Yeah, that's the consent, such that it's addressed, so that they feel like the good enough for now, safe enough to try. And this isn't a large proposal. 2000 ADA is not a large proposal, but it is significant enough to run through the process, and it's also hopefully.
I mean, large or small depends on how big our treasury is, right? But either way, I think we'll have to pay attention to all proposals, no matter how big or small the money is. Right?
Yeah, that's true. And that's actually brings up a good like, what is our, like, a percentage of the treasury? Like, how big is this proposal? And relative to other proposals and relative to our treasury. That might be something. How, like, in Catalyst, there's like, okay, this proposal is this many percent of the fund and of the campaign. So that might be actionable data, because that speaks to safe enough to try. You know what I mean? Like, because then it's sort of like, we don't want to have we don't want to drag out and like have every member decide on it if it's a smaller, there's like an appropriate size, and that might be in the S3 literature about safe enough to try, meaning that this expenditure won't sink. It's like below and above the waterline. Remember that analogy? Like, that if the proposal is above the waterline, meaning that if the proposal doesn't work out and the website doesn't get created, or it doesn't serve the purpose, then it's not going to sink Gimbalabs. Although the front-facing website is pretty important. Yeah. I wonder what we can look at the proposal, like, review criteria.
But I think by the end of the day, it'll all boil down to us reading the proposal. We'll have 1 week to read the proposal, ask questions on Discord, and if Ken is busy at that point in time, we'll bring those questions next week, clarify it, and get consent. Is that fair?
Yeah. I think that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So what I will do is, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I
Go
think
ahead,
it will
Juan.
be smart to. I mean, this is a very important proposal. It's the first one of this nature, so I think we have to be conscious of that and make it carefully. You know.
Yes, definitely. And that is, yes, that's a good point. That this is the first proposal from outside of, I mean, which proposals have we done so far? I think it's just the first one, which was kind of like
Yeah,
a
it's
pilot.
just James's Notion proposal. Outside of that, no.
It's the first one in funding, by the way. So it's important.
Yeah.
It's what, Juan?
It is the first proposal with funding.
Yep,
on
that's
it.
true.
So we are acting as a catalyst, you know.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that is true.
Yeah,
So it's important.
So what I'll do is I'll create like a channel just for proposals, just so we'll have a record of all the proposals that have passed. It's just an additional thing to Notion. I'll just post Notion links and say
Yeah.
that proposal passed, proposal didn't pass, whatever.
Yeah, that I think, where would you put it?
I
And
was
maybe,
thinking I'll add it in the working group section, like just so there's a collection of all proposals from all working groups.
yeah, so in the contribution circles,
Yeah,
like, so it'll be below sustainability maybe. And then just, what are you going to call, what do you think you might call it?
just like a proposals channel.
Proposals, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. And can you post the Notion link there? Are we able to access the Notion link, Ken, or is it
Yeah.
personal? We can,
You know,
right?
instead of doing that, let's
Mhm.
could you post a link to Ken's this 10th his original post, and it's linked on the, yeah, it's linked in the Miro board. It's like the first in that thread in the Miro, and that way, we, you know, unfortunately it'll kind of make two places, but it'll just you see what I mean? There'll be two, but that's okay. That's okay, because we're just starting this out. And I think, yeah, I guess this would also require a governance action, but I feel like creating a proposal section in the Miro board, basically that links to Notion documents, would be good to do.
So how many times I feel like I don't necessarily go to Miro for links unless I
Yeah.
have to see like a bigger picture. Most of the time I end up on Discord, and immediately if I can find the link and get details, for me,
Yeah.
I'm speaking, would be easier. But up to you guys. Do you guys prefer Miro to find the links, or do you prefer Discord, or do you prefer some other platform? I'm just curious.
Yeah. What do you?
Me, I prefer the website.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like the way it is now, I use the website to when people who aren't a member of the community, like if they want, you know, information about the open space, or if they want, you know, stuff about Playground, because there's some like general information. But
one question, like when it comes to this, if someone lands on the website, would they know what an open space even is? Would they know what a proposal is? Would they know what consent is? Like, what does it mean? What does all of this information mean to like a new person, right?
That's the purpose of having a knowledge graph, is that you can lay out all those pieces and how they fit together.
May I just jump in
And I
for a
think
sec, with a like response to Harsha?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm just you know, exploring internet for opportunities to do like different things, and I'm on this like just recently, like just thinking about what a website does. I encountered a AI startup ecosystem. And so when you go to their website, you just get, let me just pull it up, and why it's not in my history of, wow. So basically, like, what is interesting there is that on the homepage, you get a link to their weekly meeting. So they have like once a week, they hold a check-in, and it's like just on the top of their front page.
You want to send the link?
I'm looking for it, and I don't know. Well, I was at this website just last week. Did I clean the? Okay, just did I clean my browser history? What the hell? Oh yeah, just maybe in my email. Yeah, Kauai. Scheiße.
And then Ken, I'm just looking through like the evaluation criteria. My concern about having to do like formal updates on the website is I don't think you should do that, but it would be great if you made the commitment to come to open space at least one per week, and we're available for questions about people that are following along on the GitHub or the wherever you're doing your updates. So that's one thing. Yeah, and I think you answered that right. I'm just looking at it here. I was like, yeah.
I'm ready to share my screen to show the website.
Okay, you're ready. Okay, let me
if
stop
you
my
don't
share.
mind.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. So, system desktop capture. Yeah, okay. Built-in display. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So you can see, like,
Yes,
here
yes.
is a video explaining what is this organization, or even it's called call to action, right? So it's like they are saying why you should join. They are really like want other people to join, and I think as Gimbalabs we do this as well. So they explain why you should join this organization. Then, like, very small on the right top, you see like you have this page, like sponsors, summit, events, about, and search. And then, like, look, just a weekly, they don't even have calendar. They just have like their primary meeting on the front page. And just thinking about like what they minimize usually, like if you design a website, so far as I understand, you like what you want your user to, like you expect your user to want is you minimize the number of clicks they need to get there. So we could really optimize this at Gimbalabs, and because like 90% of times I share from Gimbalabs is live meetings that people can attend, and recordings of the live meetings that people can watch through and see what is happening there, so that they feel comfortable signing up. I share like playground form so that the people can sign up there. And yeah, so that's like basically you can see like you have like sign up, contact us, join our meetings, and that's pretty much, they have the same spirit as Gimbalabs because they're like a collaborative community just focused around AI.
Yeah, that's definitely what you want for the homepage. But if you want to build a more comprehensive knowledge base, or have different people contributing knowledge to a knowledge base, that's maybe something that you don't need to see first time you land on the website, but maybe having different ways of jumping into it if you want to learn more about any particular topic and run down any rabbit holes about different things or whatever.
Blogs, usually like when other websites, you have blogs to read about what this organization is doing.
Yeah.
But building a knowledge base, I don't think it's you have specialized resources for that. You will need to build navigation and things like that, which is like time consuming and you need to do it. But if you use Gitbook or you use Wiki, pages, something like this. This is all taken care of, you know, and you
Well,
just don't need to do this.
I've already got half of that built, like just the basic knowledge management stuff. The work I've already done in Elm, like that part is already half built. So
I'm curious. Are you guys thinking that like the website itself is a knowledge repository, or are you thinking it is like a gateway for people to get to somewhere? It could be a knowledge repository. It could be actually come and do some governance, or it could be to like do a project or put in a proposal, whatever it is. How are you thinking about the website?
I think that the main issue is whether or not you want to do anything real time, because that makes it quite a bit more difficult if you're trying to do something real time. But if you're just pushing knowledge or work to a shared information center, then that's a lot easier to do, and you can just push commits to GitHub, or maybe even you have different people with different Git repositories, and they can push things to their own repository. And as a group, you can decide who is allowed to integrate their repository with the main knowledge base. So you can just have HTTP requests into the knowledge bases on different Git repositories, and the same website can conserve the content from different places if you want to do it that way.
Makes
I
sense.
kind of,
Okay.
yeah, I think like there is a thing like a GitHub organization so that people can push to a communal repository. That I
Yeah.
think this gets to Harsh's question about like, is it a knowledge repo or a gateway to others? And probably the way it is now, it's a gateway. Like what Alex was saying is like, oh, he just shares, and this is what I do too. I just am like, okay, if you want to know about Playground, here's the link to the Playground. You know, that it has all of the stuff there and it's open and accessible, whereas our Miro board, not so accessible. You show up there and it's, you know, it's super confusing. And Discord, you also have to join, and it's also kind of opaque if you're not there. I think Ken's vision is a more holistic thing to bring the website back center, which I feel is important for like awareness and sharing. And then this idea of developers that are working on repos. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we saw Claudio and Martin's, you know, repos and all of the Plutus builders out there, and we see their repos and we're like, oh yeah, this is a Gimbalabs guy. He's working right there. You see when his posts go, and that I always imagined a developer community that we would be more in GitHub or GitLab or some other developer sort of thing. But what Ken, I think, is saying is that we can integrate that into a website such that it's easy to share. You know, it is a gateway to other info, but it's also acting like a knowledge repo.
Yeah, you could clone the website repository and use it on your own, like in your own GitHub account or whatever.
Yeah.
As your own personal page. Like it could be set up in a way where maybe you have a JSON file or something that has the information that's specific to a particular group, and then you can just change that and edit it if you're repurposing it for something else. But the fun thing about that is that if you're using the same way to manage content and you have the same format for how you store the content in the knowledge base, then the Gimbalabs site can serve information from its own knowledge base as well as other places, but the other places could serve Gimbalabs content or anything else in the knowledge graph too. So you'd have different access points depending on who's serving the site. So that's sort of going into the primary driver again, like the idea of replicability. So where you can replicate the process in different places and use the same infrastructure to integrate with what's happening in different parts of the community.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, totally. This it's funny because James gave a talk about it on a playground maybe a month or so ago about serialization. And it was kind of a weird roundabout way, and then it was a great recording actually, because it was like James being like doing Jamesy stuff, like teacher stuff. And I think that's what he's talking about, like open data standards. Yeah, this idea of a protocol, yeah. So this would, yeah, I'm excited, but I'm also excited. I have a meeting at the top of the hour that I have to get ready for. This has been wonderful, y'all. This is really, really cool. Thanks so much for joining in and doing the stuff. I'm gonna dip out, but I will see you on Discord and see you next Wednesday. We'll run, and I'll take the responsibility to help us run through the consent process.
Sounds good. So in the meantime, what did we decide in terms of where we'll post the proposal and like read through and questions and all of that?
Yeah. Would you create in the contribution circles something that says like maybe say all circle proposals or all proposals. But yeah, a new channel that says proposals, and then make a link to this this message, and I'll put it in the chat, which is the main, like Ken's first message.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, okay, you got that.
Yeah.
And then people will either respond to it in that proposal, and maybe we can start the habit of creating a thread on the proposal link. You know what I mean? So that it doesn't just become like a long, so we use the thread function. That could be cool, but we'll figure out, we'll see how it goes and adjust accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking if that's the case, I should also post James's proposal in there and say it has been passed and just put a link in.
Excellent. That should bring us all up to speed. And then, then we can maybe start some other proposals. I'm thinking about, I would like to get, I've got some ideas for proposals too.
Sounds good.
It's proposal season, maybe a fun 12 Catalyst proposal, and let's start making some proposals. Ken, you're a champ. You're a champ for leading the charge in, and I appreciate your patience, and your dedication to our group, to this group, and to this, because for as long as I've known you, this has been your primary focus, these collaborative environments. And so I'm really, really stoked to see how you can see what you can do with a little bit of funding, and hopefully more. Like, wouldn't it be great if you were the website guy and you offloaded that from James? And yeah, so I'm really looking forward.
Sure.
Sweet, y'all. Okay, we'll see you on the Discord. We'll see you next week. Ciao.
Sure.
Bye, y'all.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you, James. Take care.
Thanks, James.